Welcome to the podcast that's dedicated to helping business owners to prepare for exit so you can maximize value and exit on your terms. This is the Exit Insights podcast presented by Succession Plus. I'm Daryl Bates-Brownsword, and today I'm talking to John Lamerton. Now, John, the way I came across John is a bit interesting. I listened to a couple of his books. I'm forever learning and looking for tips and tricks myself. And I listened to a couple of John's books and I was quite intrigued and I liked the style. So I thought, what the heck, why don't I reach out to John and invite him to be on the podcast and share some of his stories directly. Welcome, John. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me, Daryl. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Hey, why don't we start with, why don't you give the listeners a little bit of a background as to, who you are and how you came to be, and that'll set them up as to why they're going to enjoy the next 25 minutes or so of our conversation.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes. So I was a civil servant about 22 years ago. I was going to have a lovely career in the civil service. By this point, I would have had about 3 or 4 promotions, on track to count down to my retirement. That was my entire thing. Hey, nice, safe job for life, great pension. I was moved to a different department, hated it. Suddenly, I hated my job and I needed to get out and I had no option. What do I do? So I decided, in my wisdom, to launch an internet marketing company. 3 problems with that. Number 1, I knew nothing about running a company. I'd never run a company before. Number 2, I knew nothing about marketing. And number 3, I didn't even own a computer, let alone have access to the internet. But hey, why let that stop you? So I just figured stuff out. I borrowed my girlfriend's parents' computer with their dial-up 56K internet connection. I picked up a copy of Internet Marketing for Dummies. Now, if there was ever a book that was absolutely tailor-made for me at that point, it was Internet Marketing for Dummies, because I was absolutely a dummy. And I worked my way through that book and I read the book and I followed the instructions and I made a ton of mistakes. I mean, loads of mistakes. I did everything wrong that you could possibly do. So much so that after about 6 months, my mother-in-law, now my girlfriend's parents, said to me, "Why is John still wasting his time and money on this internet thing?" A quote, by the way, which I used in my book and signed for my mother-in-law, said, "Here you go, you can have that." 9 months into running my business, I got my first check from the business for £13.51 for 9 months of blood, sweat and tears. If I'd worked out my hourly rate then, it's probably about a third of a pence.
And your mother-in-law, probably had a good point at the time.
She did. That's the point. She was absolutely right, because at that time I was probably putting in, on top of the day job, 2-3 hours a day and getting nowhere because I was just throwing time at it. And she said, "Well, he's not earning any money. What's going on?" Well, eventually I had that check. That then showed me I was on the right path. I'd proven the model. That was that moment that I knew, do you know what, this works. I've created £13.51 out of nothing, out of my own genius and hard work. All I need to do now is scale it up. So I did, and actually that was April 2001, £13.51. By August of that year, I went part-time in the day job from hell. So I was probably earning £300-400 a month then. By November, I quit my job and I was out of there full time. And that was, 21 years ago. All I've done since then is replicate what I did in those initial kind of 18 months to 2 years. I've become a student of what works. I try stuff, I fail, I read books, I get mentors, I recalibrate, I just keep trying stuff. And now, fast forward 20 years later, yes, I've been involved in kind of 60 small businesses, most of which have failed, some of which are still with us today, some of which I've exited. I'm now focused on 2 businesses, a sports betting business where I only work 3 hours a week, and my passion project, the book writing, the group coaching, and helping other ambitious lifestyle business owners to live the lifestyle that they truly want as a result of some of the mistakes I made along the way.
Do as I say, not as I did.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no better way of saying it than that, I've got to say.
And it's really important to note that, so 2001, sort of turn of the century time, the internet was still a new thing, really, wasn't it? Like,
Oh, it was.
It was, we got internet marketing for dummies. I remember all of those dummies books, and Pick Atomic, and there was a book written about it. But to jump into internet marketing back then, yeah, as you say, it was a dial-up modem. I remember that, that tune when you had to dial up, and yeah, my kids just can't relate to that, without having permanent internet, and a mobile phone back then was, I guess, just a mobile phone, wasn't it? It was a Nokia, typically an 8310 or something, really small, could fit in your pocket, and it made phone calls, and the really good ones could send texts. So that's kind of the environment we're in. So internet marketing, if you wanted to go onto the internet, it was from a computer. There was no iPads back then. It was a PC only. You had to consciously connect to the internet by plugging your dialing in and disabling your home, your landline for a while, unless you were really wealthy and had a separate line in your house. And so you were on the frontier of internet marketing at the time. So it was a brave move, really.
It was. And I think when I announced to all my friends and family I was quitting my nice, safe job for life with the fantastic pension, to, as you said, join the Wild West. And just, this internet thing, which may not last, and most of these fads never last, because I'd had a good couple of months where I'd earned some money, and they were really, really scared for me. And I think, in hindsight, some of the advice I give to my clients now is, well, if you're worried about taking a plunge and taking a chance with anything, how easy would it be to get back where you were? And I felt that, I was a civil servant with 6.5 years, 7 years experience. If this internet thing doesn't work out, I can get back in the civil service like that. Maybe in a different department, maybe, I'd have to take a pay cut, but I could get back where I was very, very easily. Yeah. So in my mind, it's like, yes, there's a risk, but there's huge upside and there's very little downside.
So was that what was going through your mind, John? It was kind of, well, I've got this upside, and I know for some it's kind of, well, I don't want to die wondering. And that's what was going through my head when I made a similar switch. And leaving the civil service, it's a massive corporate. You couldn't be more different to running your own business. So,
oh God, yeah.
Total change in lifestyle. And for your family, and if you grew up in an environment where your parents, you grew up in an environment where your father, and it was probably just your father working, had one job his whole career, and for you to go out and do this would have been insane.
It was absolutely, as far as he was concerned, I'd lost the plot, because the whole objective for your child's life 20 years ago was get them to get a nice, safe, secure job for life with a really good pension. Yeah. And I had that age 17. 17, I walked into the civil service. Brilliant. You're set for life. Don't need to worry about John anymore. 6 years later, John says, I'm packing this in to go and play with computers. I think what he said, what was going through my head, there was a little bit of, I needed to get away. I absolutely hated my job with a passion. I'd gone from absolutely loving my job to 6 months later wanting to leave. I launched my business. I was moved into a different department, and I launched my business in the first 3 weeks of being moved, when I was on the induction training course, because I knew I was going to hate this.
So perhaps there's the first lesson is and maybe it's a first world privilege. I think, and I'm just trying to be careful how we do it, perhaps we're fortunate enough that we can pick and choose a job that we love doing. And and I consider that a great privilege and an honor, and maybe because I've got the education that I can do that, and I think picking up from what you said, it's kind of you bluff your way through till you make it.
Yeah.
And is that a privilege, or is that an attitude, a mindset? I don't know, but you're saying I trusted my gut and it worked, and I've heard that so many times talking to business owners.
Well, I think I'd had a little, so in terms of safety net, I went part-time first. So I reduced my hours. which again, could I get back where I was? Yeah, easily. I walk back into my boss and say, can I go full time again? Very easy.
Yeah.
But when I reduced my hours, suddenly I was working on my business on, I think, Mondays and Thursdays. Thursdays was my big day because that's when I sent my weekly email. And suddenly I would realize that actually, if I was in the office, if I was in the civil service office on a Thursday, I would earn, I don't know, £30 in salary. Running my own business, I'd earn £150. And the maths were just like, wow, I'd suddenly be sat in the civil service office on a Wednesday going, it's costing me £110 to sit here today. I'm losing money by coming here. And that was the mindset change, was suddenly I've proven the model. I know it works. I know what to do now. Before I was trying stuff and it was failing and it just wasn't working. The minute I figured out the model, it's like, geez, this works. I need to now scale this up. I need to do more of this.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier, and here's a point that I really want to pick on because I've just sort of picked up an aha for myself then. But you mentioned that you're working with lifestyle businesses.
Yes.
What's a lifestyle business?
Cool. I'm very much a fan of the term lifestyle business. I never used to be. I used to be very derogatory about lifestyle businesses. I used to feel when I first started my business, I wanted a lifestyle business. I wanted to work from home, walk the dogs, have nice holidays, drive a nice car, live in a nice house, and not have to go back to the civil service. That was my entire lifestyle that I wanted. But then I started making good money. And all of a sudden, I was in this world where suddenly I'd gone from earning £12,000 a year as a civil servant to earning £10,000 a month for myself, pretty much 10x my salary. I didn't need to 10x my salary. But when I'm in the world of I'm earning £10,000 a month and I go to a networking event in London and some guy there is earning £100,000 a month and he's got a new Ferrari. I was like, oh, I want that now. And he's saying, well, you need to take VC money on board and you need to get some investors in and you need to get some offices and you need to scale up and you need to do this. And then you can do the big exit and you can earn yourself 50 million in a couple of years. And I'm like, wow, I'd like 50 million. That sounds really good. And so I went down this path of I'm going to be the next Alan Sugar. I'm going to be the next Richard Branson. This was pre-Trump, not pre-Trump, but before Trump made it bad to have a skyscraper with your name on the side. I wanted one of those, a yacht in the harbor with a helicopter on the back, preferably. That was the lifestyle that I wanted. Now, the way I got there was 100-hour work weeks, just pulling complete all-nighters, working until I dropped, and just being fueled by caffeine and alcohol until I pretty much had a nervous breakdown about 4 years into running my business. And it wasn't until I actually had kids and I had a 3-month-old baby, absolutely adored Jack, my first child. And I thought, this is great. I love being a dad. And one day I was in an MOT garage and I was reading Alan Sugar's book, What You See Is What You Get. Again, I'm emulating Lord Sugar. I'm thinking, right, okay, I need to read this book because I want to know, what did Alan Sugar do in the 70s? What did he do before? I want to know how he scaled Amstrad up because I'm going to copy him and I'm going to replicate that because I'm going to be a billionaire and they're going to get me to host The Apprentice and I'm going to be the next Alan Sugar. So what did he do? I never really saw my kids much when they were growing up. Oh dear. That's not what I want to do. I want to learn how you made all the money. I don't want to know that you didn't see your kids. And then suddenly this kind of light bulb went off on my head. I thought, oh Christ. I drove home, dug through my bookshelf, picked out Richard Branson's book, Losing My Virginity. Wasn't really there for Holly and Sam when they were little. Oh no, these guys that I'm emulating that have built these massive businesses, they weren't there for their kids. And that's what I want. So in that moment, I suddenly decided, I do want a lifestyle business. But I still had that little nagging kind of niggling point in my head. Well, lifestyle businesses don't make any money, do they? lifestyle businesses are settling. They're making cupcakes in your kitchen for minimum wage, or worse, losing money because you're just following a hobby. And you ever watch Dragon's Den and you see like Peter Jones just look down his nose at someone and say, it's not a real business you got. This will only ever be a lifestyle business. And I just had that repeating through my head. It's like, lifestyle businesses aren't real businesses. I had a chance conversation with another dragon a few years later. What's it called? Doug Richard, one of the early dragons. I think it was like season 2. And I mentioned this to him because I was going through this at the time. I said, look, what's your take on lifestyle businesses? And he went, lifestyle businesses are more profitable than the real businesses that Peter Jones talks about. He said, because lifestyle businesses focus on the bottom line. He said they can make 40, 50, 60% gross margin. He said, Peter Jones is happy if he makes 1.5% margin. He's got to turn over billions to make the millions. He said, if you've got a lifestyle business, he said, what do you need to earn? I said, I don't know, 50 grand a year. He said, okay, so 50% margin, you only need to turn over 100K. I'm like, oh, geez, I can do that in my sleep. He said, well, there you go then. You've got, that's a lifestyle business. A lifestyle business can be 50 grand a year. It could be 100 grand a year salary. You can take out whatever you want. And that there was 2 things he said to me. Number 1 was that lifestyle businesses focus on the bottom line, they're high margin. And the second thing he said to me, which stuck with me, was, are you the majority shareholder in your company? And I said, yes. He said, right, then you have a lifestyle business. He said, if you are the majority shareholder in your company, you dictate your lifestyle because you call the shots. If you're like, I previously had a lifestyle business, but my previous lifestyle was working 100-hour work weeks until I dropped chasing a massive turnover. That was the lifestyle I designed.
Yep.
It was all on me.
Yeah, it's interesting because we talk about, one of the things I talk about is, there's always choices and consequences. And if you made the choice of, emulating a big scale up business, and the consequence is that you don't see your kids.
Yeah.
And once you get conscious of that, you start going, so what's my driving force? What am I in this for? So I've always looked at lifestyle businesses as one where, and I've just got mechanical about it, I guess, is you don't end up necessarily with something that you can sell. You still need to exit your business, but a business that you're building, and I guess this is similar to the majority shareholder piece, is you start focusing on the business as an asset, and you switch that mindset from income, which is what Doug was saying by the sounds of it. So, and there's no one or right way to run a business, but if you have a lifestyle business, you just go, cool, it's just myself and maybe 5, 10, maybe even 20 helpers. The business is, I'm still the business revolves around me, and there's nothing wrong with that. And at some point, I'm going to have to exit the business, and it'll be a different exit to one where I'm building a business or a company to exit and sell the company. And that's what I thought might be curious to explore here, because even though we might talk about lifestyle businesses and they're just revenue focused and they're based all around the owner of the business, often there's still something to sell.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the term where we talk about, well, you're buying a job. Well, maybe, but that's not a bad thing in itself, is it? I'm buying myself a job and I've got a good income and I've got a good lifestyle and I'm in charge of that. No problem. I can then, once I'm done with this job, I can sell it to the next person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things I've always focused on, I've just actually created an online calculator that works this out, is the actual hourly rate that you earn as a business owner, not what you bill out to your clients, because that's what the company earns, but how much money did you actually take out of your business and how many hours did you actually put into your business over the last 12 months? And when people work through this, it's sometimes very, very scary, because they suddenly realize, oh yeah, I bill my time out to clients at £95 an hour. Brilliant. I notice you do your own bookkeeping. Is bookkeeping worth £95 an hour? Well, no. Okay, well, I notice you're doing your own cleaning and you're pushing paperwork around the office and you're checking emails. Is that £95 an hour stuff? The social media work you do, is that £95 an hour? Well, probably not. And I said, okay, how much did you take out of your business? Okay, I took out, I don't know, 50 grand. I'm gonna have to do some maths on the fly here now, aren't I? 50 grand. Let's say, yeah, that's 50,000 out of the business, working, let's say what, a 40-hour work week, 48 weeks a year. That's 4 weeks off. That's 1,920 hours worked. You earn £26.04 an hour. Oh, but I'm billing clients at £95 an hour. Why isn't that number 95? Well, it's because you're not selling all of your time at that rate. And this is where, for me, the lifestyle design and the lifestyle optimization comes from, I want to spend as little time as possible in my business. And when I'm in my business, I want to have the biggest impact I possibly can. So I ran through my numbers for my sports betting business earlier. So I spend 3 hours a week in that business. And all I do in that business now is I coach the team. And the money I take out of that business, my hourly rate I've written down is £1,136 an hour. That's not a bad job. There's very few jobs on Indeed that pay £1,136 an hour.
Is not many top barristers charging that?
I don't know. I've worked with a few, I think. But it's that focus on working as little as possible in your business. So you said about sellable. So I can give you 2 examples. So I've got a lady called Michelle who I work with, who very similar to me. She works about 3 hours a week in her business. Now, she planned on exiting her business. She's coming up to retirement, and her plan was, I'm going to work my ass off, and I'm going to get this business to a point where it's worth about 5 million. I'm going to cash out, and I'm going to sell my business for 5 million. We met about 4 years ago, and we started doing some work with her. And now she's working 3 hours a week, not even every week. So she's quite, we run a little competition in our club called the Pink Flamingo Club. There's a reason the pink flamingo behind me there. And the idea is whoever spends the most complete days out of their business in the entire calendar year wins. I know this is an audio podcast, but I've got a visual aid there. 4 foot high, inflatable pink flamingo.
Oh, very desirable.
Yeah, there's a whole story behind that, which I won't even go into. But Michelle is determined to win this prize. And she's an accountant. She spent all of January, that's self-assessment deadline month, in Tenerife. She spent most of February in Tenerife. She came home for a few weeks. I flew out to Tenerife in March, met up with her because she was back out there again. She's traveled through Italy. She's off to Turkey in about 2 weeks' time. She is going to be spending about 6 months of the year out of the country. When she's in the country, she's not working, she's on the golf course. She has designed her business as a lifestyle business.
And given where we are, what are we? It's July 2022. It sounds like she's replaced all the billable hours with airport queues.
Exactly. Yeah, she's been sat in the airport terminal. Waiting for her bags, I expect. But there's one lady who, so basically, she's optimized her business as a very nice business. So she earns very good money. She works, the work that she does in business is very high level. So again, her hourly rate is going to be in the hundreds, high hundreds, if not low thousands. Conversely, I nearly bought a restaurant pre-COVID, and I talk about dodging a bullet because we would have completed on this restaurant probably about January 2020. So we dodged a bullet here. And the reason we dodged a bullet was because this business owner had designed his business as a lifestyle business. He didn't realize he had, but we went to see this business. No, I knew the business. It's a nice restaurant. It's a nice building, good turnover. I reckon that's a nice little business. So we went along, looked at the accounts. I went, it's only earning 30 grand a year. Why is this restaurant only earning 30 grand a year? And you're like, well, it's not really. He said, because the bar upstairs, he said, anything that comes through there is under the table. That's cash. That goes straight in my pocket. I'm like, oh, okay. And I said, I noticed you've got a Just Eat sticker on the front, and there's Just Eat things on the menu here, but I don't see any income from Just Eat in your accounts. You went, no, that goes in my personal account. I was like, okay, so you've optimized this for tax-free income. He was paying himself a salary of £12,000 a year, very tax efficient. I said, what do you do in the business? And he said, oh, I run everything. He said, I'm front of house, I'm head of the kitchen, I make cocktails upstairs, I do everything. I said, how often do you work in the business? Or about 80 hours a week. And I said, okay, so I'll tell you what, I said, first and foremost, I can only pay you a multiple of what's in the accounts. I'm not paying you for the cash that you are avoiding tax on. Evading tax. Let's be honest about it. That is illegal. And what you're doing there, I would have to start declaring that. So you do that. If you can find me someone with 2 decades experience of running a restaurant who will work 80 hours a week for 12 grand a year, I will give you your asking price. And he couldn't, because obviously he had optimized everything in that business so that he had a job that paid him the most amount of money tax-free, but wasn't sellable in the slightest.
And he had no idea. And I guess what you've hit on there is that mindset that we touched on earlier. If you're looking to build a business that you can sell, you need to look at the business from an asset value perspective. What's the business worth? How do I structure my business so that it's worth most and be attractive to buyers if I want to go down that route? And what you're suggesting, quite legitimately, is, hey, if you want to go down the ownership life, the lifestyle business route, totally legit, own it. Don't call it anything else.
Yep.
Lifestyle business, maximize it, do the best you can, build the business around you, leverage the hell out of it so that you really are maximizing the lifestyle, extract the cash and build your wealth and your retirement or what have you, all of your assets outside of the company, and you're still on a winner.
Yep, absolutely.
You're owning it. And so I think that's the key point of our message, isn't it? Like, if you're in lifestyle business, awesome, own it, leverage the hell out of it. And that's the key message, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The same principles, what's my hourly rate? What's my time worth? Anything less than that, any task that's worth less than that, outsource it to someone else and get on your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I spoke to Michelle a few weeks ago. We played golf, unsurprisingly, together. And again, she said, well, I'm coming up to retirement age, but my mindset has changed. And suddenly, well, I don't need to retire. I only do 3 hours a week. Yeah, why would I ever need to retire?
So there's as long as I'm enjoying my 3 hours a week.
Absolutely.
Which I imagine she is, because it keeps her engaged in something. And I guess, maybe this is just me struggling to get my head around it. If it's only 3 hours a week, there's 5 days a week where she's, doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And you're doing the same thing. Tell me you're not thinking about it and coming up with crazy ideas of how to leverage that 3 hours even more. And you're still thinking about the business of ideas you can put into the business, even though, once your little project is up, you go back to your 3 hours.
Absolutely. So I have a folder, literally to hand here. And this folder is just full of all the stuff I want to do within my businesses. Most of this I will never get done, but it's there. That's the ambition side of the ambitious lifestyle business. There is so much desire there to grow, and sometimes the difficult thing is reining in that ambition. I had an idea yesterday. It was like, I could launch a brand new business. I can work with this guy. We can make millions doing this. I thought we could, but you don't need to do any of this, John. And the whole point is that you're meant to be living this brilliant lifestyle. If you do that, that's at least 10 hours a week. You haven't got 10 hours a week. You want to be on the golf course. You want to be sat on the balcony in the sunshine. You want to be playing with the kids. You want to be, not be honest, I'm in summer mode right now. I'm only working a couple of days a week. I'm not even writing my books or anything like that now. I'm just paddle boarding and swimming and hitting the gym, and I talk about the work-life balance as like a seesaw. I'm at the life end. There is no work happening at the moment.
Well, thanks for taking the time to talk to me.
This isn't work. This is fun, you see.
Well, there we go. Brilliant. I think it is too, but okay. So we've got the work-life balance where we've got the seesaw tilted into the life balance. It's the life-work balance now. We do a few hours work a week. We're very focused on the work we're doing. The only question I've got left to you is when you're running a lifestyle business, how do you know if you've got something to sell when the time comes?
I think more than anything, it's knowing how reliant that business is on you as the business owner. So for my sports betting business, that doesn't rely on me at all. Now, I can go into that business and I can give great value to it. Marketing is my specialty. So I can write a new sales page. I can create a new email nurture campaign. And I say, I can coach the team. But if you were to take me out of the business and say, John, you're not going to work in the business at all, that business still runs. You know, it's horse racing tips. I know nothing about horse racing. I am not the person to do that. Again, Michelle's accountancy practice, she isn't doing the accounts. Her team are doing that. And it's having that business, it doesn't rely on you at all. If you could remove the business owner, your business becomes sellable. As a lifestyle business, you can actually demonstrate, I've already removed the business owner. I removed the business owner 5 years ago.
Brilliant. So what we've learned today is that a lifestyle business is just another business.
It is, absolutely, particularly if you're the majority shareholder.
Just like any other business. That's brilliant. And that's a great way to end it today, John. I really appreciate you spending time with me and taking time out of your life to enjoy this with me.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, Darryl. Thank you very, very much for having me.
Excellent. Thanks, John.